There was a surprise tonight on Fox News. Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy did not rush to the defense of the Trumps.
Someone close to the president needs to get everyone connected with that campaign in a room and say, from the time you saw Dr. Zhivago until the moment you drank vodka with a guy named Boris, you list every single one of those, and we're going to turn them over to the special counsel, because this drip, drip, drip is undermining the credibility of this administration.
And here's what the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee said today on Donald Trump Jr.'s offer to cooperate with congressional committees.
We'll certainly want him to come in. Plainly, as we saw the constantly evolving stories from the president's son, we cannot rely on any public representations that are made by the family about their contacts with the Russians. We have now seen a very demonstrable pattern of obfuscation and dissembling about these meetings. This was unethical. It was, I think, in violation of the oaths of citizenship to willingly solicit, receive, encourage foreign intervention in our elections. So this is a very serious business, whether criminal laws were violated or not.
Joining us now, Congressman Eric Swalwell, Democrat of California and a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Could you give us your legal reading as a former prosecutor of what you see in Donald Trump Jr.'s meeting with Jared Kushner, Paul Manafort?
Good evening, Lawrence. It fits the pattern. It actually reminds me of a vision test you'd get from an eye doctor. They show you the different lenses where it makes the slide in front of you either clearer or blurrier. And each piece of evidence that we get, it makes it clearer that the Trump campaign was willing to work with the Russians to receive damaging information about Hillary Clinton during Russia's interference campaign. And so that's why, for all the reasons that we must be able to conduct our investigation in the House. And I actually think, Lawrence, to the point of your last guest, we need an independent commission. That's the only way that we're going to have true credibility and progress on this.
So, Congressman, is that an expression of doubt in your own committee's ability to do this?
No, it's actually an expression of history. After September 11th, we had congressional inquiries into what happened, but most progress was made because we had independent, bipartisan appointed experts who looked at our vulnerabilities and then made recommendations so it would never happen again. And we are safer and more protected from terrorism because they did that work. And if we want to make sure we're never in a mess like this again, and we find out which U.S. persons were responsible, I think we need to take this outside of Congress.
Let's listen to what Senator Lindsey Graham said about this today.
If there was an email suggesting the Russian government wanted to help you and you took the meeting, that's problematic. If nothing came of the meeting, I'd like to know that, because the harm is even engaging with somebody who suggests that a foreign government wants to help your campaign.
Congressman, is there a different feeling on Capitol Hill today? You heard Trey Gowdy. I was a little surprised there was no attempt at all in his segment on Fox News tonight to defend the Trumps in this situation. Has any mood changed in the Republican defenders?
Yes, I do sense that they're starting to ask themselves, do we really want to defend this guy and the constant lies that they put out, confronted about evidence of prior contacts with the Russians. My hope, honestly, Lawrence, is that regardless of what happens with the criminal probe, let Bob Mueller and his team do their work, that there's an understanding that the Russians have not left. They actually will do this again, and other countries will see this as an opportunity. And if we do anything in Congress, we can better work together to secure the next election. That, at least, is an opportunity to move forward and show the country that we're united and not just in our corners, as I've seen with the Republicans so far defending the president.
I want to listen to something that Senator Angus King said today, because, one of the defenses that you're hearing basically from the Trump side of this is that, well, Donald, everything was going a million miles an hour. Donald Trump Jr. doesn't really know campaign law, wasn't really sure what he was doing here. Let's listen to what Senator King said about this.
Now, you can argue that he and Jared Kushner maybe were naive. They didn't do anything. They didn't really know what they were getting into. But you can't make that argument with Paul Manafort, a very sophisticated guy involved in a lot of campaigns. And he certainly knew that there was something fishy about an email like this, an invitation to get opposition research from the Russian government.
Congressman, it seems to be the perfect cast of Trump characters in the room for responsibility. There's no way to duck responsibility when you have Manafort in the room. He's on all the emails leading up to the meeting. He knows all about it. He can't claim, gee, I didn't know there was anything wrong with this kind of meeting.
Actually, Lawrence, ignorance is not a defense for any of them, but you're right. If you just take a step back, I still think it doesn't pass the right or wrong test for any of them either. You don't have to be a political consultant or someone who worked on multiple presidential campaigns to know that Russia's not our friend, that a foreign adversary presenting damaging information wrongfully obtained for you to use in a campaign is just wrong. So what your background is, it was just wrong, and you were willing to participate in the cheating of a presidential election. So whether it's a city council race or a race for the presidency, this would just be wrong.
Congressman Eric Swalwell, thank you very much for joining us again tonight. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Coming up, Donald Trump's lawyer now thinks that Jared Kushner is hurting the defense of the president. That's breaking news. That's the latest breaking news item tonight from the New York Times.